Hello, brethren. How you doing? So you guys just caught the previous drop. That was a little bit lighter. You know, keep it simple, keep it brief. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna discuss something real quick. We're not gonna keep you too long. Okay, so let's get to the page. All right, so we're gonna talk about Negro Question. This is part 2. Okay, so just a little brief. So you have the white invasion of Greece. Now, white is more of a concept like up and down. So they have different duality. So for them, your managers of society, they basically want to create a rift and malcontent and chaos, i.e., through chaos they rule. So they want to create indifference, antipathy. So they'll call people of European descent white, some of which look like you and I, so-called black men, that come over and they'll take white as citizenship because here it's basically a caste, or as they say, it's a social construct. So with the white invasion of Greece, before Greece was always what you call a polyethnic. So if you guys don't know what polyethnic means, poly means multiple or many. So multiple ethnicities or ethnic groups. Okay, so you always got to break down words. You got a encyclopedia. You have a dictionary. Specifically, you want to actually go to the Webster Dictionary from 1828 and older, because they often have different words. Get the PDF. I have it. You guys need to download it just for yourself. Forget me. So we have figure 33. So let me blow that up. You guys may not be able to see it too well. So if you're looking at figure 33, what does it look like? Well, ebony men. Okay. And that is acrotary fresco. All right. It's a real fresco. And this is of ancient Greece. The fresco of Black Greeks was taken from an evacuation site on Thera, a volcanic island 120 miles southeast. Okay, let's minimize that so you guys see that picture. And if you guys want me to go in one, there you go. So those are so-called ebony men in Greece on a fresco. See little dolphins. Okay, so let's minimize that. Okay, so Greece mainland, this was a site of one of the world's greatest eruptions called Akatori. See image on the next page of Black Greeks. So let's zoom into that. Okay, so that's a fresco. Those are so-called ebony men. See the curly hair. And that's a pot, which he's carrying, the brother right there. Minimize it a little bit. Okay, that's the Akatori fresco. Move on to the next page. Okay. So this is a more detailed image. So there you go. Zoom in just for you brothers. There you go. So we got the whole page lined up. See the brothers up top, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on top of the building. And then you see them right there on the ship rowing. Okay. You see them right over there to the left and over to the right and in the buildings. They're in the building. We outside, as they would say. All right. Evacuating the city, the reason why I showed this image of the Black Greeks was to reinforce the statement that whites invaded a Black Greece, but mostly from West Asia, which you guys call Middle East. Most interesting thing that occurred when the whites invaded Greece was the historic records that all writing stopped, and hence Greek experienced a dark age. That sound familiar? We will prove to be the calling card of the white race. I will show you that everywhere their feet tread, darkness and mystery follows. Let's take a trip to Rome and see the effects of the barbarians to the Roman Empire. I will get back to the subject in the book, The Negro Question, but in order for us to understand what happens to West Africa captive, we must get an understanding of the people who kidnapped us. Try to handle on these white Europeans for the sake of understanding why they have taken such an attitude towards colored people on Earth. All right, interesting. So we are now in Rome. So the European barbarians were the Anglo, the Saxons, the Jutes, and now Angles. So the Saxons, you had so-called Black Saxons, by the way. Goths, Visigoths, Vandals, Lombards, like Lombardy, and Ostrogoths. Your amateur historians knows that the 5th century, the white barbarians invaded Rome. That is true because a man called Genghis Khan. Genghis, however you want to enunciate his name. Now, the thing about the Genghis Khan, most of the Asiatic tribes, specifically with Genghis Khan, they were very swarthy. Some of the people, the Mongols, very swarthy. That's what they say. Genghis Khan was also feared by the barbarians. That history records that Genghis Khan came across the Volga River, overwhelmed the Romans, and eventually the empire collapsed. So I have in my possession images of the Black Romans. Yes, there were Black Romans. Now you have Black Caesars. You had Black Romans that were general citizens. You had Black Romans that were in military regiments. Some had high positions in Congress and were part of your elite. I have in my possession images of Black Romans and brown-skinned Genghis Khan. See, there we go. You be the judge. So this is a visual above a famous Roman poet in fresco dated back to 200 AD. Okay, let's look at it. So, there's a brother right there. You guys can see it. Boom. Okay, looks kind of tawny, swarthy. All right, and not only but 200, 300 people in America can actually speak Latin. Actually speak it, not write it. It's a pretty difficult thing to learn when you're trying to learn it just by going through the alphabet. You have to actually speak it. So that would be Publius. I'm not even trying to pronounce that. Nero, known as the Vigil or the Virgil, 70 BC, 19 BC. Oh, this is before Christ. The great Latin poet Virgil, holding a volume which is written the Aeneid, or either let's see, the Mosaic. Okay, yeah, because it looked like a tile. Because it didn't look like just a picture. Okay, interesting. So we got Roman citizens. Okay, so this would be a fresco on a Bacanti tomb. So the image of ancient Etruscans. Etruscans actually predated numerous European societies. All right, so Etruscan, as you guys know, the Etruscan sauce or the topping, which is on salads and stuff like that. These are people that actually pioneered it, and your Pope actually carries, or the Vicar carries, an Etruscan staff. Just saying. So ancient Romans, these were some of the people that lived in Roman Empire before the coming of Genghis Khan. The Roman Empire was built upon the same experiment as the Americas. There was no such thing as racism. They had classism though. In the 20th century, you're going to see, this is the image of Genghis Khan, so they say. All right, scroll found National Palace Museum, Taipei. This is the man who made Europe get off of his axis and flood the Roman Empire. As you see, Genghis Khan is a brown-skinned man, not a white man, in the History Channel, and as Hollywood portrays him. In fact, the next page of the image is of his grandson, Kublai Khan. Now, Genghis Khan had a very infamous aspect in history of fathering a lot of children because he loved the ladies. He loved the ladies. So a lot of people of monoculture in China, they actually say they have descendantry to Khan, like 1 in every 10. Okay. So this is important. We push to rewrite the ancient world history. And so who is this? This is brown skin Kublai Khan, the grandson of Genghis Khan. There you go. Okay. It's in black and white. Okay. So this is a German tapestry of wild Moors. So those are your Moors right up there in the castle. And you often see tapestries and paintings. So you see the Moor with this the little headband on. Okay, they're right there, right there. I don't know if you can see it very well. Right there up in the castle. And these are supposed to be wild men. So, All right. This is a snapshot of the Black European experience during the 100-Year War, 1334 to 1453 in Europe, when these white barbarians overran Black Europe. Okay. All right. Keep reading, you'll really get freaked out. Okay, we kind of gone over this. So this is chapter 9, the Black Kings and Popes of Europe. Black Russian and King, let's minimize that. Marian. All right. So let's highlight, let's zoom into that, see what they say down below. So this is the image. There they are praying. Okay. There they go right there. So-called Tawny brothers. Miriam the Third was a king of, let's line that up, of modern Georgia, not the state. Shouts out to the Georgia Bulldogs, the actual country. A contemporary Roman Emperor Constantine first, 306-337. Carly was successor state of the ancient kingdom Colchis, made famous by Herodotus' description of his people. They are black-skinned and have woolly hair. An ancient kingdom of eastern Iberia. 17th century mural of Svetskytili Cathedral in Georgia. According to early medieval Georgian annals and hagiography, Miriam was the first Christian king of Iberia, coveted through the ministry of Nino and compulsion female missionary. He is credited with the establishment of Christianity as a king's state religion and is regarded by the Georgian Orthodox Church as a saint. So there he is right there. On to the next page. Black Hungarian King Bela. Okay, let's minimize that. So we got the king, and he has his knights behind him. Okay. All right. See him adorning the king's crown. Okay. On flight from the Mongols. All right. Painting of Emperor Alexis, the Church of, what is that? The Greek manuscript in the Vatican Library. Oh, wow. There's a lot of stuff in the Vatican Library. A lot of stuff there. Let's go on to the next page. When the papacy moved from Rome to Avignon, it has been recorded in history that Europeans that the papacy needed indeed moved from the paired with Papish estate in Rome to France from the years 1305 to 1378. This has also been phrased as the Babylonian captivity of the papacy, which is by illusion of 70-year captivity of Judah in Babylon. All right, so there you go. Pope. So that's Pope Gregory the 11th by Giovanni di Paolo. Okay, next page. The image snapshot that comes from antiquity of the blackness of the Avignon popes has moved their residency from papal estates in Rome, come under the protection of Black Frankish, King Charles V. These Black popes have moved to France because of the tide of racial hate and have begun to spread across the continent of Europe. On hindsight, one departure from Rome signaled the beginning of the coming 100-year race war in Europe, an English genocide of Black Europeans. Okay, King Leopold I. Now we know about Leopold as the descendant that actually, not his descendant, but the name King Leopold from Austria that went over to, I want to say, the Congo and did some grotesque things, especially for resources. But so he's from the house of Habsburg. So we're going to actually look at the coat of arms next video, not this one, but put a timestamp on that, people, and remind me of the house of Habsburg. You'll see a lot of cap going on with how they represent him and other images. So Holy Roman Emperor Leopold I, 1640, 1705. Oh yeah, nice run. Coin depicting Leopold. There it goes. Want me to zoom in? I don't want to zoom in too much, but I hope you guys can see. Let's zoom in. There you go. Boom. That's the coinage. All right. Let's go back. So the image is taken of the coin was that minted by King Leopold of himself. So he minted himself. All right, brothers. Then you have Maria Habsburg of Austria. This is the Queen Maria Habsburg of Austria, who just so happens to be the mother of King Leopold first. That would be the brother right there. And right there. Okay, so that's his mom. Mom's Dukes. All right. So, and she, King Grandfather Charles V. All right, so there she is. Let's move to the next page. Excuse me. That's the King's list that was actually in ancient Maya, if I can remember, if I could zoom in. Is that Maya? Yep. So the panel of the paintings in the Larco Museum in Lima, Peru, depicting the Incans. So you'll see like one of the European kings on that list, just saying. The Holy Roman Emperor Charles I, Charles Quinto of the 15th. And they cut off that part. Okay. So where is Charles at? Must have cut that. I gotta look at the next page. Okay, this is an image of Charles V. He has been recorded as kept in the Larco Museum in Lima, Peru, from left to right. The last image on the right is the true picture of Charles V, the Holy Roman German Emperor. The father of Maria of Austria, he is depicted as a so-called black man. I have enlarged the image on the neck. Oh, okay, that's why. I want to make this plain to the reader. His story is repeated with repeat with white men and white women who risked their life and limb to help the so-called Negro, Abraham Lincoln, John Brown. He later discusses that, okay, John Kennedy, Bob Kennedy, those whites who helped with the Underground Railroad. Okay, next page. And let's see. Okay, that's a blurry image, but that's in the book. Can't do anything about that. If I minimize it, it still looks like that. But that's Charles V and Lima, Peru for the Incas. And the Incas were so-called brown people. Same with the last remaining Aztecs. If you look at the Aztecs, you have the last full-blooded Aztecs with the Library of Congress. Just pull that image up on your Google. It'll show you. King Charlemagne, Black Holy Roman Emperor. Okay, and that's his coat of arms. Let's zoom in. Okay, there you go. And that's in Karlstein Castle in Czech Republic. Now, sorry if I butchered the name. It appears that the brothers in Eastern Europe had no problem with the truth concerning the black emperors. Okay. After the Renaissance period in Europe, everything that was black became white, including symbols of Habsburg Empire. The eagle is now painted white instead of black. Yes, the eagle has the double head. So sometimes that actually represents a specific god that actually looks in the future and the past at the same time. And if I can find the image of that coat of arms, next video I'll pull the actual coat of what it looks like now. All right, Next video, guys, remind me. Okay, so that's actually the Palatine Boers. Palatine Boers were so-called Germans that came over to America. Benjamin Franklin didn't like them because they're too brown. It appears the French kings, according to antiquity, ancient history, were black even from the beginning of their reign. This is Charlemagne. This guy isn't black. Then the sun doesn't rise in the east and set in the west. There he is. That's interesting right there. Next page. Oh, nope, not next page. I mean, actually, next page. Black Roman Emperor Frederick Barbarossa. There it goes. You guys can see the image. I'll blow it up. Frederick Barbarossa. All right, let's minimize it. So that's his consort. You know, those are some of the people in the court, family members. Receives credentials from ambassadors of Venice, miniature early 15th century. Okay. So far as late as 12th century, the kings of Europe are being depicted as black by Europeans themselves. These aren't forgeries. All right. So the black popes of Britain, Ireland, and Europe. So we already saw that image. So, did you know? Okay, kings and popes are black. It is bleeping unbelievable. Let's go to that image real quick. Okay, had to change the song up a little bit. Let's go to the next joint. Okay, so icons of All Saints of British Isles in Ireland. The image was found at St. Seraphim Church in Walsingham, Norfolk, England. There you go. Zoom in. Icon of All Saints in British Isles in Ireland. Now, you know Ireland had a lot of so-called black men, as we just did with the black Irish that came to Jamaica. So there was some icons, you know. Of course, that's Jesus. Okay, so these are, and it's kind of fuzzy, but you got to understand this was taken out of a book. And let's zoom out. Okay, next page. The image was isolated from the image on page 86 and enlarged so you can see the black kings and princes of Britain and Ireland. Let's go and let's minimize that. There they have. They have their crowns. The images don't lie. There was a time when royalty of Europe was none other than the so-called black man. Let's go on to the next page. The Black Knights of Europe. Okay, I don't have this image. This is a new image. I have never seen this one. All right, let's zoom in. Painted panel of the outer right hand wing of the politic. The young man wears the crown of a nobleman and carries the red and white military pennant and shield of the Holy Roman Empire, circa 1447, from the Wiener Neustadt Abbey, which is in Vienna. minimize that. There you go. Okay. The revelation that you should be getting is simple. The kings, popes, and knights were black people. All right. So there you go. So you had Negro rulership in Europe. Now I've seen that one to the right. I've seen no, I haven't seen this one. Oh, let's maximize that. Okay, I haven't seen that one. Okay. That's something I haven't seen before. Saint. Okay, that's Ryan Das, also Renaud of Cologne, since the 11th century, has been the patron saint of the city of that. It's called up Dortmun. I don't know what the rest of it is. Via transfers of Cologne to Dortmund. There it is, Dortmund. Allegedly by Saint Anno, 1110 to 1075, was the Archbishop of Cologne. So that's him, the brother right there. It was a nephew of Charlemagne. Had a military conflict. Charlemagne caused Rhino and his brothers to flee. They became known as the Four. I'm not even trying to pronounce that. Built the impregnable fortress of Montauban, which was besieged for years by Charles, but he could not conquer. A plea was made, Charles I, by his sister Ayas, to spare his sons, which Charles granted, but at a high price. There he is. It's patron saint, huh? Now, I've seen this a million times. I actually have this in a couple of videos. So that's at the Magdeburg Cathedral. That's St. Maurice as a Moor. I've seen that a million times. Okay. Okay. So if you guys want to go into this, we will do a little bit of this. The European Black Plague, fact or fiction. You have the 100-Year War. We talked about that. All right, like 2017. Germany, 30-Year War, 1618 to 1648. Okay. So you had the 100-Year War. 50% of France's black population was dead. So your Franks, and you had some people that were Huguenots. You had some people that actually were they came from the northern Africans that were your Berbers and Moors. Actually came up and they had children with French, Italian, Spanish, that Mediterranean area. Italy, okay. Germany, 30-Year War, Black Holy Roman German Empire versus England. Russia, Dutch, Sweden, Transylvania, and Hesse-Palatine. 40% of the black German population was dead. Wow. Britain Civil War, 1642, 1651. So the Black Britannians fought against the White Britons. 4% of the British population dead. Scots population, there was so-called Black Scots, Highlands, Black Highlanders, Picts, Petes. We read that in a video we did last year. Okay. And also talked about the great famous boxers of Europe too. We briefly went over that. We might do another video on that. It was a race war. Yeah, okay. The images don't lie. The black kings, popes, and knights existed. So this is from Benjamin Franklin. As he discussed it, he didn't want the Palatine Boers because they're too swarthy. So we discussed that ad nauseum, but we'll read it just for you all. Okay. And let's see. Why increase the sons of Africa in America? America's a land of opportunity. So, and since the detachments of English from Britain sent to America will have their place at home and soon supply increase largely here. Why should the Palatine Boers, Germans, be suffered to swarm into our settlements and by herding together establish a language and manners to exclusion of ours? Why should Pennsylvania, founded by the English, become a colony of aliens who will shortly be so numerous as to Germanize us, instead of us anglicizing or anglifying them, and will never adopt our language, our customs, any more than they can acquire our complexion? Hey, Benjamin Franklin, can you translate what you said about modern English? Swarthy, black. Tawny, black. Okay, so you had tawny people or persons in Asia, still to this day, and India, still to this day, and still in Europe. So the Spaniards, French, Italians, Russians, and Swedes are generally of what we will call swarthy complexion, as the Germans also. Okay, let's look into this chapter. So Benjamin Franklin was not talking about West Africa captive. He was talking about Black Europeans coming to America. Of course, man, we talked about the Palatine Boers years ago. Not to forget the blacks of continental Europe. So far, we have identified 3 ships which regularly transported blacks from Germany and Holland, where they gathered for their transatlantic trip. Jamaica, Glasgow, Marlborough, typical entry. Ship Jamaica Galley, Rotterdam to Cowes in England to Philadelphia. Ship Glasgow, Walter Sterling, commander from Rotterdam, but was last to Cowes of England, qualified the 9th of September 1738. Marlborough, Thomas Bell, master, qualified September 23rd, 1741, to Rotterdam, but last from Cowes. Carry cargo of Palatine Mills. Palatine of Rhine, the historic state of Black Holy Roman Empire. So they were required to take this oath of allegiance. We subscribe natives, inhabitant of the Palatine Black Holy Roman German Empire upon the Rhine and places adjacent, having transported ourselves and families to the province of Pennsylvania, a colony subject to the crown of Great Britain, in hopes and expectation of finding retreat and peaceable settlement therein, do solemnly promise to engage that we will faithfully and bear true allegiance to his present Majesty King George II, the succession King of Great Britain, and will be faithful to proprietor province, and that we will demean ourselves peaceably to all his Majesty's subjects, and strictly observe and conform to the laws of England, and thus province the utmost in power to the best of our understanding. As long, white Europeans will claim that these were whites, but does demean oneself peaceably to all of his Majesty's subjects sound like the oath of Protestants, allies to whites, would have taken? Probably not. So, some of the Black Kings of England, King Edward, all right, Edward III, a blue, what is it, a blue garter? And again, we're going to look back at the coat of arms, how they look now. All right. Some of them have been intentionally changed. Okay. 200 years older than the letter that George Washington wrote back to England concerning the arrival of Black Europeans to Americas. Wow. So he was written as a white guy in history books. Okay. King George III. You all heard the story of the American Revolution. This is the true image of King George III. He does not look like a white man. In fact, he looks very much like a red bone. For those, like Malcolm X. Put some glasses on him, he looked like Malcolm X. King George III, the next passage is the image of his white wife and the most beautiful Queen Charlotte of Germany, and the woman is a red bone with nappy hair. See for yourself. Well, okay. Well, that's Queen Charlotte of Mecklenburg. You guys see the image? I'll blow it up. Look like a girl I used to know in college. Named Crystal. Look just like her. Couldn't stand her. Not her. Now it's a girl named Crystal. The available data is clear from the available data that we have two convergent groups of black captives descending to the Americas and the Caribbeans. One group from West Africa, the other from Europe, mostly from Europe. There can only be one conclusion from the data that is available, that there's a major cover-up of both sides. Okay. So white European converged to Libya, Africa, and they had just exterminated the blacks off of the continent of Europe. Appears they had set about to do the same thing in Africa, but they had a huge problem. The brothers on the continent was willing to fight to the death in the continent of West Africa, all over the Americas and Caribbean, wherever they were dropped off. And from the backdrop, from the vantage point, we proceed to the section titled "The Stocking the Americas and Caribbean by European Colonizers." All right, let's look at the next page. Interesting. So, the Spanish, English, Portuguese, French, Dutch took their captives from parts of Africa, okay, to South America, Central America, North America, Caribbeans. So there's ledgers. So we're going to actually just go into we'll go into this. Spanish importing captives from the kingdom to Venezuela. So he led a slave revolt in Venezuela and was hanged. What's his name? Jose Leonard. I'm going to have to look him up. Oh, let's go back to this image. Okay. All right, I'm going to have to do some research on that. Come back to that. Colombia, like the goddess. Benko Bio, the king of Montuna. Okay. So these are the chiefs in Lima, Peru. So these are your Incans or descendants. Okay, so-called brothers. Okay. Now, Uruguay is interesting, and Paraguay because they're right next to Brazil. Okay, right smack dab next to it. All right. So you have a black Uruguayan population. Bolivia, I have no clue about Bolivia. So I'm going to have to do some more research on Bolivia. So go to the next page. And I've seen that picture of Mexico. All right, very interesting. Guatemala. And often when they say maroons, that's really indigenous or ebony people or persons. They weren't always slaves. They were people fighting against rulership. So you have to dodge a lot of cat when you see maroons. All right. So I'm gonna have to actually read this chapter a little bit, but we're gonna go through this chapter. And Nicaragua. All right. So I'm gonna take a little break. This is the second drop of the day, and if there's anything extra in here that might be interesting. Now they're going into the Caribbeans. So, all right, I think we're going to end at 120. Yeah, we're going to end right here. Okay, we'll end right here. And you brothers have a good day. Hope all is well. Keep your heads up. Let me stop sharing. Keep your heads up. Just a quick little drop. You can break this video up, brothers, and you can take it and you can add on to it. So always do this so you can actually disseminate the information. Go check out the books. Again, the book is called. Okay, let's see what brother said. Yes. I knew a girl from Albania. This is Abdullah. I knew a girl from Albania. Her name was Brunilda. Shouts out to Brunilda if she's watching this. She used to come in to the gym and work out all the time when I was in college. She had jet black hair and she was shaped just like a so-called black woman. And she discussed her history, her ancestry. And she also discussed different things that occurred in Albania, specifically when someone wrongs someone. They can't even leave their house because they're going to come and try to get you if you wrong, i.e. like you hurt a family member, like kill them. They will try to get you, have like death packs. They will get you, period. But yes, they do seem she was shaped like a black woman. Jet black hair, dark eyes, you had a lot of black rulership in Albania and black persons there. Okay, specifically in Eastern Europe, you have some of the legends that come about from Dracula. But we all know the truth about Dracula. I might do a video on Dracula, Dracul, the dragon, as they so would say. But that's a little bit esoteric, and and it's going to offend a lot of people, specifically trolls. So I'd rather just get that offline because you're going to have a lot of people troll. What are you talking about? I don't have time to deal with them. Put in 100 million comments about stuff. But yes, Albanian, Hungarian women, specifically Albanian, they're very shapely. And a lot of people have jet black hair. Not too many blondes. Black is hereditary, like dark hair. And, that does come from a so-called person of color. It's passed down through the genes. So just like women from Greece tend not to be blonde because it was a polyethnic society. Same with Rome. You had a lot of so-called black. Now, when you look at the images, you'll see nothing but white. But most historians that have studied and can read and speak, which not too many, only 200 people in America can speak Latin. They know a lot of what you see is artistic licensed image. It's cap. It's super cap. It's artistic licensed. So that just means it's fakes. It's just like if they did a picture of America 300 years from now, and they just have nothing but white people walking around, and there's not one black person. They'll have Michael Jordan as a white guy. They will have Kareem Abdul-Jabbar as a white guy. They have Muhammad Ali. They have him as a redhead because he was he has Irish or Scottish ancestry. They'll have me as a white guy with blue eyes and blonde hair and 6 feet tall, and it'll be completely inaccurate, and I'll be skinny, super skinny. So that is inaccurate right there. Okay, I don't have blonde hair, and I'm not skinny, kind of muscular. So, and I'm not white. That's how they depict me. So, but brothers, enjoy yourself. Have a good day. You can take this video, chop it up, and you can use it for your lessons. You can use it to display the image of this book. And I'm going to go the rest of this chapter, this part 2, part 3, part 4, part 5, part 5, part 6, 7, all of the parts. And part 7 is really the best one for me. All right, so keep your heads up. Peace. I'm out. Love y'all, brothers.